Want to learn what it's like to run a multicultural bookstore? Then this is the show for you. Hi, my name is Tonya Duncan Ellis, author of the Sophie Washington series, with another episode of Write This, my author interview show. Today, I'm pleased to interview owners of Multicultural Bookstore, Stories of a Colorful World, Kanika Mobley and Vanessa Mitchell. And I want to pick their brains and learn what it's like to run a multicultural bookstore, and also to find out what they feel about the state of diversity in Kidlit and why it's important for us today. I think they've joined us, so I'm going to get them on now. All that they do. Let's see. Can one here? I'm going to send them an invite. It keeps doing it. Let's see. Hey, how you doing, Kanika?
Hey Tanya, how are you?
Fine. It's so good to see you.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy to have you on the show. And I want to thank you while you're on here for all your support of my books and the Sophie Washington series. I really appreciate all you've done to help get my
Ab-
books out there. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. We love Sophie Washington around here, and we actually just had a customer who was in our Bryant Park shop come all the way from Texas and say, "Oh my gosh, I
Oh,
know this
oh,
author."
that's so cool. Yeah, and tell me about your shop. So I know you had an online store, so you now have a physical store?
So we don't have a brick and mortar, but we were awarded a spot through Bank of America Small Business Spotlight. And
Wow.
so they award four businesses during the holiday season uh, a shop in the Bryant Park Winter Village.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's such an amazing experience. We met people from all around the world, and we were able to get our online shop actually into a physical space so people could come in and actually buy from a physical location.
That's good. And I love the books you got behind you there. You got 12 dinging doorbells. Santa's Gotta Go. So you ready for the holidays.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely. It is coming quickly. I'm telling you, it feels like December is flying by.
I know. And I'm in Texas and it's cool here today.
Oh,
Yesterday it was like in the mid 70s. And now it's like in the 60s. So I have my sweater and I'm shivering now.
I
So
was
it's
about
cold.
to say that is cool for Texas.
Yeah, it's
Oh
cool.
my goodness.
Yeah. Now tell us about your store, how you got started, and what your mission is.
So we're an online children's bookstore, Stories of a Colorful World, and we believe that all children deserve to see themselves in the books that they read. So because they're such an underrepresented collection, just in terms of books featuring BIPOC main characters and also books written by BIPOC authors, that our collection features books that you can find featuring a BIPOC main character written by BIPOC authors.
Right. Now, what got you interested in doing this? How did you all come together to do this?
Absolutely. So I've been an educator for over 20 years.
Mm.
And when I first started in the classroom, I started teaching in Atlanta. And it was always so hard for me to find books that represented the students in my classroom that
Mhm.
I would go on like these never ending searches. I would always try to look for books that were going to like get my students excited because they were in kindergarten. And so that's their first experience in engaging with books, starting to learn to read and get excited about it. And read aloud was always our most important time. And so I wanted to make sure that not only was I teaching them like how to read, but also just really helping them to build their own identity. So helping them to embrace their what we call their bold, beautiful, and brilliant selves. And
Right.
so my best friend and business partner Vanessa and I were having the same issues, and we were talking, and decided to actually launch Stories of a Colorful World, because we both would say it shouldn't be that hard for, you know, educators and parents to find books that represented their child.
Right. Now, have you seen things changing through the years, or how do you find it to be now?
Absolutely. I still think that there is a lot of work to do. However, it is worlds different from
Mhm.
when I started teaching over 20 years ago. So before, I could find one or, you know, a couple of books in some old classics, right? We know like The Snowy Day was
Right.
always a favorite, Amazing Grace. But now kids have so many more options that it's really hopeful that, you know, when the kids of today kind of grow up, then it's going to be a norm. Like
Right.
it's going to be normal for them to be able to find multiple books in different genres to be able to see themselves and enjoy.
Now, on your page, you talk a lot about books being mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. And what exactly does that mean?
Absolutely. So Dr. Rudine Bishop, she created this term, windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors. So a mirror book is a book where you see yourself reflected. So your experiences, and who you are, your culture, things like that in the book. But whereas windows are an opportunity to see others that are unlike you, so other, maybe other cultures or other traditions, things where you get a opportunity to actually see, and get a window inside other people's lives, which is so important, because if we only see books that are mirrors, we get a false sense of what the world is like.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so we want to have a good balance of books that help us understand and embrace ourselves and build self-confidence and understanding, and also books that are able to help us build empathy and understanding of others as well.
Right. Now, I know you're in the building with the bank right now, but through the year, I see you in these different pop-up shops, or what are those?
So we try to get out, because we're an online bookstore. We actually want to get out and be, you know, customer facing, get out and have people actually interact with our books as well. So we work with a number of different pop-ups across, probably across the East Coast. So anywhere from New York all the way down to Atlanta.
That's a lot of work. You all are busy. Yes, because I've been doing a lot
Yes.
of events in the holidays and I'm tired.
I listen, my last event was last weekend, and I just said like that is the last one for the year, and then I will take a break because
Yeah,
it
that's a
has been a
lot.
really busy year.
Now, what has the reception been when you bring your books out? What do people say about the books?
I will say that is probably the best part, because there are so many different reactions, from like the audible like gasp to see
Oh,
like so many books. I just had an experience, a few experiences really, in the like Bryant Park shop, but one of them was a woman who came in and she noticed this book, and it was The Many Colors of Harpreet by Supriya Kelkar. And she just, you know, wanted to make sure we knew like this little boy is Punjab. And she was like, and I'm Punjab. She was like, I've never seen a main character that represents me before. And like the type of stories that we hear like that, you know, just really warm our heart to be able to show like, yes, you are the star of a book too. And to be able to get kids to also understand that from an early age, like you are seen and you deserve to be represented.
And I can imagine that would help encourage the kids to read and get excited about reading.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Now, somebody put a question there asking if you work with independent authors or, I guess, indie authors.
So we do. We actually work with both traditionally published authors and indie authors.
Okay, so how could they connect with you? Or
So
is
they absolutely. So they can go to our either our Instagram page and click the link in the bio, or go to our website, storiesofacolorfulworld.com, and fill out a contact form.
okay. So what is your ultimate aim with your shop? Like, do you want to grow in other ways, or what's your long-term goal?
So one of the ways that we want to grow is we do want to have we want to work more with schools, and so we
Oh,
want to have a mobile bookstore. That
oh
way we
yeah.
can um go on the road and take it to schools and in places that are still book deserts, right? And be able to share the stories of so many wonderful authors with kids and get more books into the hands of kids.
That's nice. Now, what about funding for those schools? If they're in the book deserts, can they afford to buy the books?
Some of them do, but also working with like nonprofit. We work with like nonprofit organizations as well that help support schools.
Yeah, this is so wonderful because you're getting out here making these kids readers and getting them exposed to these books.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's also like changing mindsets of families as well. Just because like now all the craze is in graphic novels and kids are
Oh, yeah.
enjoying graphic novels. But there
Right,
was one time where educators and parents is like, that's not real reading. And so
right.
we want to also make sure that kids are having an opportunity to pick the books that they want to read, the ones that they're going to enjoy, because that's the thing that's going to keep them and get them motivated to read more.
Right. And actually, I love graphic novels. I've had some that have made me cry, and they have deep storylines in a lot of the graphic novels.
Absolutely. And you don't really, I think a lot of people don't understand like how much actual cognitive work that goes into reading a graphic novel, from going from the illustration and following the pattern and structure, is actually more work than just reading a novel.
Right. There's a lot like I love Jerry Craft's books,
Yes.
and there's a lot of irony and different things going on that you have to think about in these books, even though there may not be as many words on the page. There's a lot in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is just, I wish I had something like this when I was a kid, you
That
know.
is the thing that we hear the most, that so many adults come in and they say that same thing. Like, I wish I had this as a kid. I wish I was able to experience this. Um, which, I think that's one of the reasons why we started it too, just because we wish we had it as a
Mhm.
kid as well.
Yeah, and I was also thinking about with the the conflict or whatever was going on with Scholastic, you're kind of like an antidote to that issue when you have things like that going on.
Absolutely. We actually have been contacted by different schools who are looking for alternatives to, Scholastic, or to supplement what Scholastic is, like their book fairs, because they don't, you know, with the collections that they're receiving from Scholastic, still don't see enough diversity within.
Right, right. So this is amazing. Yeah. So right now you're on the East Coast when you're doing the physical locations, but how can we get your books if you're not in the East Coast or not in those areas?
Absolutely. So we still have our online shop. So people can still shop the online store, storiesofacolorfulworld.com, and we ship across the US.
Right. Have you thought about doing a subscription box or something like that?
And so we actually started off as a subscription box service.
Oh,
So
okay. I didn't
our
know that.
original model was a subscription box service. So we launched our business in December 2019. So this
Mm-hmm.
time
Oh.
in 2019, and we were sending out monthly subscription boxes, and then 3 months in, COVID happened.
Oh man.
Which
Yeah.
definitely put a wrench in some of our plans, especially getting our word out and supporting families. And so by like January 2021, we actually relaunched as the online children's bookstore, but we have been thinking about restarting the subscription box model as well. We have
Yeah,
heard a lot of
that would be
people.
cool. Yeah, I would love that. Put Sophie Watt. Hey, Sophie
Absolutely.
Washington. That in there, yeah.
Absolutely.
So what else are educators contacting you, or how have they responded to your service?
So educators, I think that is one of our main customers are really educators who
Oh, okay.
have been also looking for like these type of books for their classrooms, or looking to like source different books or recommendations for books that they can add to their classroom libraries, and even creating book lists to help support classrooms and educators as they're trying to figure out what are some of the best ways to diversify
Hmm.
their classroom libraries.
And I know in your newsletter you have different reading challenges and other things. What other things do you offer there?
So we do have the reading challenge. So every month we have a reading challenge, and it has 10 mini goals in it. And so with each
Wow.
of those mini goals, they are connected to like different themes or the specific month. Like this month is all around like different holidays, and also really thinking about fun ways that kids can like interact and engage with books, whether it's books that they already have and becoming rereading and becoming old favorites, or maybe their reading environment. Because one of the things that we know is, you know, a reading environment and routines help, build that love of reading. And so maybe it's a different way that they can read, like reading under a tree or building a fort, or, reading their favorite book with hot cocoa during this time.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Because it's so challenging now. I know my kids are a little older, and I'm looking around with all the electronics, and it just seems like it's so hard for parents nowadays to get the kids reading.
Absolutely. I have a 17-year-old, and he used to be a voracious reader and still will, but like his go-to is his phone
Right,
and
right.
everything that they can do on the phone. So I think that's one of the things that also, as parents and educators, knowing like that is one of the things that we're up against in getting kids to really engage with books, which is
Mhm.
another reason why, like, let them enjoy the types of reading that they do, and the types of books that they want to enjoy, because that'll really get them more motivated to read.
Right, right. Because they're still reading. And then that may get their confidence up or get them interested in some other things as they've gone through these other graphic novels or other books they're reading. Now, a question
Absolutely.
was thinking about, what are some challenges of running a bookstore or being a bookseller?
I would say some challenges are, so one of the things that is really great is being able to get a lot of different types or see a lot of different types of books. But one of the things that we really want to make sure that we're getting in the hands of kids are really high quality books.
Right, right.
And so wanting to make sure that we're supporting particularly like different authors in getting their books in front of a wider audience, but then making sure that they are books that are like high quality and that are going to pique the interest of kids. Because again, we're competing against technology. And so really wanting to make sure that everything is like high interest.
Right, because a lot of the quote unquote classics may not be appealing to today's readers, the young
Absolutely.
readers. Right. Well,
Absolutely.
this is something. I really applaud you, and I'm so happy to see you doing this for all the children because it's going to benefit all children. And that's another question I have. Do you see non-BIPOC people buying the books, or what's their reaction to
I
your
do.
offerings?
I do. I think I see a different I see um different audiences or people like experiencing it differently. And so one of the things that actually being in the physical location this month has shown was, because our space is, I would say, it was not centered in the white experience. And
Mhm.
so all of our books feature BIPOC characters. It was a space for all people, but
Mhm.
not centered in a traditionally white experience. And so either the reaction was like of joy to see it,
Right.
or it was discomfort
Oh, okay.
because it was unfamiliar, right?
Right.
Because every space feels familiar, and then this space was very different from that.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah, but that's eye-opening, and it's probably teaching people about different cultures and different experiences. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely, because there were people, we've had customers from, there was a customer from the UK who
Ooh,
she was originally from New York, but her family moved to the UK. And so she wanted to get many books because she wanted to make sure that her kids are actually able to experience it, because she did not feel like there was like the level of, or the type of books that she
mhm.
wanted to expose them to there. Another family was from Germany, said the same thing, that where their kids grew up in Germany, there wasn't a lot of diversity, but they still wanted to make sure that their kids understood that the world was like, the global world was very
Mhm.
diverse.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. So this is great to see all that you're doing, and I applaud you again. And I'm excited to see the diversity and all the different books that you offer children, and wish you well as you continue on with
Thank
this journey.
you. Thank you so much. And I
Yes,
think just to have people know, right? Books with diverse characters are for all children,
right,
right? They
right,
are supportive and beneficial to every child.
right. And it just makes our world a better world, people having more empathy and understanding. So it's just good for everyone.
Absolutely. And kids see so many of the similarities in, you
Yeah.
know, how they are raised and in other people.
Exactly, exactly. So that's what we need in our multicultural world. We live in a colorful world, so we need to have our books represent the world that we live in. That's
Absolutely.
good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And Kanika, how can people connect with you?
Thank you, Tanya. So it was so great being here. They can follow us on Instagram at Stories of a Colorful World, and also at our website, storiesofacolorfulworld.com.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for joining me, Kanika, and thank you all for tuning in. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Write This. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much.
Bye
Bye.
bye.